recording in progress?
Yeah.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I appreciate your patience. It is now 6:41 p.m. Welcome to our October 29th, 2024 full board meeting of Manhattan Community Board 11. My name is Xavier Santiago. I'm the chair of CB11. This meeting is called to order at 6:41. Tonight, we are joined by District Manager Angel Mescaine to my left, Assistant District Manager Colleen Nixon to my right, and Community Associate Marlene Pierre, who is out there greeting us as people come in. In order to conduct an efficient meeting, we're going to observe a few ground rules. Guys, if we can keep the crosstalk down just for the recording purposes. 1, no one may speak until granted the floor. 2, CB11 members, if you have a question or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. You should not engage in a back and forth discussion, but the chair will recognize the next person to speak. Members attending via Zoom, you can find the raise hand button by first clicking the participant's icon to access the panel where the button is located. If you have any technical issues, you may relay that information to our team in the chat. The chat should not be used for discussion or pose questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record. Please keep your questions and comments brief and on topic to the discussion. 3, members of the public, you can register to speak in the public session by completing the pre-registration form and providing your name, affiliation, and the topic of comments. Registration for the public session will close at 7:15. And with that, we will now take attendance. Board members, please answer present when your name is called. We don't have Rosa. You got it? Okay. Rosa will be with us momentarily. She's stuck in traffic. Jess, please.
Yep. Jose Altamirano. Stephanie Arroyo.
Yeah.
Mark Vigorski. Marcel Bondima. Adem Briha. Kenneth Crouch. Jocelyn Cruz. Jocelyn Cruz. Carlos Diaz. Rosa Diaz will be here shortly. Jessica Elliott, that is myself. I am here. Judith Februaro. Arnice Foster Hernandez. David Giordano. John Green. Pascal Hano. Wanda Hopkins. Wanda Hopkins. Christina Johnson. Excused. Stanley Johnson. Jewel Jones. Sage Mason. Sage Mason. Malik McCullough. Malik McCullough. Jennifer Meyer.
Present.
Thank you. Jessica Morris. Excused. Nelson Arama. Beverly Pabon. Samantha Pedriero.
Present.
Claudia Perez. Claudia Perez.
Oh.
Present.
Valerie Ponte. Asher Rodriguez. Eugene Rodriguez. Jennifer Rosado. Jennifer Rosado. Don Sanders. Excused. Xavier Santiago. Isaac Scott. Isaac Scott. Russell Schuler. Russell Schuler. Loretta So. Derek Stampone. Alita Chimbao. Excused. Vinnie Torres. Vinnie Torres. Anne Marie Vasquez. Anne Marie Vasquez. Jason Villanueva. Jason Villanueva. Candy Vivas Vasquez. Candy Vivas Vasquez. Nia Whitaker. Nia Whitaker. Justina Williams. Justina Williams. Michelle Wiltshire Clement. Shanique Woolfolk. Shanique Wolfalk, Jason Wu. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. There is a quorum present. Yes. Your name, huh? Wanda Hopkins is here. Thank you, Wanda. Appreciate it. Okay. We have a quorum. The agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed ahead of time by the board office and was posted on our website's meetings calendar. If there are no objections, we'll adopt the agenda as stated. Board members, if you wish to object to adopting the agenda, you may raise your hand and wait to be recognized. Seeing no objections, the agenda for tonight's meeting is adopted. A quick note for tonight's meeting, I'm going to keep us moving along at a quick clip to get us out on time and to get the staff here at the Museum of the City of New York. I want to say thank you to the museum who's hosted it multiple times. Jerry Gallagher is present. Hopefully we'll be able to drag him in here to say a few words. So again, we're now going to move along to our pre-registered speakers. You're given 3 minutes to speak. Here are a few ground rules for those wishing to speak, both online and here in person. 1, you must sign up to give testimony, providing your name and affiliation. 2, you will be allowed 3 minutes to speak. Our recommendation is to speak for 2 minutes and leave 1 minute for questions. 3, you should address your testimony to the board, not the public. 4, you should speak clearly and into the microphone. 5, you should be prepared to respond to board member questions in order to clarify facts and opinions presented in your comments. Board members should only ask clarifying questions. Commentary will not be entertained. And we have our first. I'm going to alternate back and forth. And if you would kindly silence your phones, I would appreciate that. I'm going to go back and forth between those that are signed up online and those that are present. Taisha Smalls from WEAC for Environmental Justice. And you will have the timer right up there. For those that are logged in, you will see it on your screen. And for those present, you will see it on the screen behind us. Welcome again.
Okay, great. Can you hear me? Okay. Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Taisha Smalls. I'm the community organizer for WEAC for Environmental Justice. So just thank you for everybody again for last month who attended our membership meeting and all our events coming up this month. So our next membership meeting, which we have every second Saturday, is actually going to be the third Saturday, November 16th. It's our last membership meeting of the year where we talk about our policy agenda and all the things that we're going to be working on for the following year. So this is it. It's going to be Saturday, November 16th, excuse me, from 10 to 1 p.m. You can go on our website, weac.org/events to get all additional details. If you have any questions, my email is tyisha@weact.org, or my telephone number is 646-983-7073. Any questions?
Any questions? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we will have Roberta Brangham. Hi, Roberta. And then Cynthia Carionia will be next. Okay, you have 3 minutes. Again.
I'm a resident of 1270 Fifth Avenue. I live just up the street from here. I've lived there for over 30 years. And I am very concerned about the open drug dealing on our block, which is now just out of control. People are just selling drugs on the street and from cars. And we're right across the street from PS 108, which is a it's a kindergarten through grade 6 school, so small children. The level of violence there. We've spoken to, myself along with other members of the co-op have spoken to the police, and we've had even the community police into our building. They say they're aware of it, but I'm finding this now hard to believe for over 30 years, the police are aware of a situation that is so flagrant and so open and so dangerous especially for small children. And I want to be on the record here with the community board just to state this. I don't know if anyone else is aware of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Yes, you can. Asher, you're
108 between 5th and Madison. Mostly it's near Madison. I'm a person who lives there. Well, I live in a building that's a cooperative, and I'm not a representative of the building, just speaking on my own behalf.
Any other questions? Thank you very much for coming to speak here. We appreciate it. Thank you. Next, we have Cynthia Carrion from El Museo. Welcome.
Thanks, everybody. Hi, thank you for the board. My name is Cynthia Carrion. I'm the Director of Government and Community Affairs at Museo del Barrio, just across the street. So just a couple of highlights. This Saturday, we will be hosting our Dia de los Muertos celebration from 12 to 6 p.m. So I'll leave some flyers out. You can also visit the website. And we also have our Flow States exhibition, and I invite everybody to come by, see the museum, check out the new courtyard. And if CB11 or any members of the community would like a special tour, please let me know. I'm happy to support that. I also did want to take this opportunity just to kind of share a statement that El Museo provided just today. As an organization founded by visionary Puerto Rican artists, activists, parents, and educators, El Museo del Barrio proudly celebrates the profound legacy and ongoing contributions of Puerto Ricans to every facet of society. In response to any narrative that diminishes Puerto Rico's contributions, we remind the public of the profound influence Puerto Ricans have had across all sectors of American life, from vibrant artistic expressions to transformative strides in education, culture, and social justice. As we approach Puerto Rican Heritage Month and beyond, we invite everyone to experience the depth, talent, and resilience of Puerto Rican culture through the powerful works of El Museo. So I just wanted to kind of share that. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, seeing that there are none. Thank you very much, Cynthia. Next, we have Jason Cruz. Okay, so you'd like to defer until next month? No, quite. Thank you. Thank you for being with us. All right, we'll move along then. That's Melissa Hoke, if I'm pronouncing it properly. Melissa Hoke. Okay, no one online. We will circle back to that. Hold on just a second. Next is Vanessa Flores. Vanessa Flores. No one is online. Vanessa Flores. Okay. Stephanie Mercado Altaman, sorry. They are online. Okay. Give us just a moment. Okay, Stephanie, you if you can unmute, you have 3 minutes and you can time yourself. You should see it on your screen.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Stephanie Mercado Altman. I am the Community Engagement Manager here with New York City Smoke Free Public Health Solutions. I wanted to just come forward to the Community Board 11 to introduce our program here in the city. We essentially work with businesses and buildings, residential buildings of all sorts, market rate condos and co-ops to go smoke free through voluntary policy adoptions. And we provide technical assistance. I'm sorry for the background noise. We provide technical assistance, materials, any sort of other resources that may be needed for the policy process to be successful. And these are voluntary policies that we help buildings pass as well as businesses. They're not mandated by the city in any sort of way. This is just really an encouragement for our community spaces, our living spaces to be tobacco free, and for all of our health to be protected as well. Yeah, so if you're interested in connecting with us, you can feel free to look at our website, which is NewYorkCitySmokeFree.org. And you can feel free to take my number down, which is 646-574-5184. And look forward to connecting. So thank you so much for having me speak. Thanks for having me.
Great. Thank you so much. Any questions? Okay, seeing that there are none, we already have next will. Oh, the hand, Michelle. Michelle, your question. Can you come up to the microphone? Right here. Thank you. Thank you, Jess.
Into the microphone so the people online can hear us.
I didn't catch her info. I just wanted her to put it into the chat.
Yep.
Not a question.
Could you state your information again, Stephanie?
Yeah.
Slowly.
Absolutely. So the website you can find us at is nycsmokefree.org. And my personal information, my phone call or my phone number is 646-574-5184. And my email, if you want to take it down, I'm probably more responsive on there, is saltman, ALTMAN @healthsolutions.org.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so
Yep.
much.
Thank you.
Next, we have Lacey Jordan. Lacey Jordan from East River Houses. I see she's online. Okay, Lacey, you have permission to talk. You may unmute yourself and you have 3 minutes. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you. Good evening, members of the community board and my neighbors. My name is Zena Jordan. I'm 11 years old and a freshman at Isaac Newton Middle School. I'm here to represent the children of East River Houses. I am here today to express my deep concern about the recent removal of the jungle gym from our playground and its replacement with just benches. While benches are a welcome addition to any community space, I believe that removing the jungle gym was a serious mistake. A playground was a beloved place for us to gather, play, and socialize. The jungle gym in particular provided us space for playing, talking with my friends, and using our imagination. It's especially safe for younger kids like my brother who was 8 with special needs. Us kids need spaces to run, climb, and engage in active play. These activities are crucial for our physical and mental well-being. Removing the jungle gym has taken away a valuable nearby resource for us and has limited our options for safe outdoor play. I urge the community board to consider the impact of this decision on us and the community as a whole. Can you please work with the management to put back the jungle gym or find an alternative solution that gives us opportunities for active play? Thank you for your time and attention to this matter. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all, everyone.
Thank you, Lacey, for being here and speaking and representing the interests of East River Houses. We will gladly look into that. We definitely want to make sure our kids have the ability to have safe playgrounds out there. And we will take that on board. So I really appreciate your advocacy and speaking up and continue to do that in the future. Any
Thank you.
questions?
Thank you very much.
We have one from David Giordano. It's for the people.
Justice.
Thank you for providing your testimony. Next, we will have, that concludes our publicly registered speakers. Next, we will move on to our elected officials and or their representatives. We ask that elected officials or their representatives complete the registration form if they wish to give a report. A link to the form has been shared in the chat. The link is also accessible from the meeting agenda. We ask that any events, service literature be sent to our office so that we may post and share it in our newsletter and other media forums. Please keep your report to 3 minutes and be mindful not to repeat what others have already mentioned. Any elected officials or the representatives signed up? All I have here right now is Isabel Abreu from the Office of the New York City Public Advocate. Isabel.
Good evening, everybody. Isabel Abreu. Benjamin, who is the person coordinating all of our LGBTQ and health portfolio, has been working with other city agencies, the controller, the Manhattan Borough President's Office, and many members of the City Council in preparing for this. And again, this is a day to remember those people that have died, transgender, gender non-conforming, people who have died in violent ways just for being who they are. The other thing that we are working heavily with is in putting out our worst landlords list. This year, as you know, this is a list of the top 100 worst landlords with an incredible amount of violations. Please continue to call 311 and report violations. This is how your landlords land in this page. It's actually the way we generate it is based on data from HPD. And so when people call us and say, hey, why isn't my landlord there? It's not, we don't decide. It's decide based on data analysis that we receive straight from HPD, but that's coming soon as next month. Remember that you can always get in contact with us at gethelp@advocate.nyc.gov. If you don't have my card, I'm leaving some. This time I have more than just one. At the front, please take it. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions? Okay. Seeing that there are none, thank you very much, Isabel. Next, we have Oriana Rivera from Senator Serrano's. Oh, we have a question from Michelle. Go ahead, Michelle, your question. No, need the mic. Otherwise, people online can't hear. Thank you.
What day is the Transgender Day of Remembrance?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, so every year this is observed on the 20th of November. At the City Council chambers, we're gonna be from 5 to 7 p.m. There's gonna be performances and some people are gonna be honored from the different agencies. And I'm more than happy to share the flyer that City Council has already been sending out, but I'm more than happy to share with CB11 so they can blast it out. But again, also forgot to say that it's not just important to remember people who have died, but also to remember to expand visibility for those who are still alive, whose human rights keep being violated, and that we must continue the advocacy and the community building, including and around everyone.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, next we have Oriana Rivera from Senator Serrano's office.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me well?
Yep, you've got 3 minutes.
Great. Thank you so much. I just want to thank you guys for doing this. This is such an important thing for all the community where they can express all their concerns. I'm also happy to attend these meetings and have the pleasure to hear from you guys. I want to remind and share the information that we are constantly having constituent hours for everybody in the different areas. The November one will be on Stanley Isaac Center on Monday, November 18 from 11 to 2 p.m. for those who wants to or live in the area or go directly to to speak or share any concern. Also, I would like to share our information. Our phone number is 212-828-5829. Again, 212-828-5829. We're there Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. And my email is orivera@nysenate.gov. orivera@nysenate.gov. Just please, it's very important for us to hear from you guys because that's the only way for us to get, to help you guys. So just happy to be here, and then please reach out to us anytime. Thank you.
Any questions? Okay. I have one question. When can we expect to have Senator Serrano come attend in person?
As of right now, cannot assure that, but I'll make sure that he will come and speak with him directly, and probably the next meeting I will have him attend to this one for sure.
Thank you so much. Okay.
No problem.
Wonderful. Are there any other elected officials other than our Manhattan Borough President's Office representative?
Does that mean I go?
Yep, we will now move along to our Borough President's report. Porfirio.
Okay, thank you so
call.
much, Chair Xavier Santiago, for allowing me to be here, and CB11 members. It's always a pleasure and an honor to be able to speak to you directly. So sorry I can't be there in person. I know many of you were actually just on our last leadership training series, which began this week. Thank you so much for those of you who have been attending, and we are here for the rest of the week and have many more sessions. The last one being on Friday here at 1 Center Street, which will be a emergency preparedness at 12 noon. And the first 30 people will receive a emergency to-go bag. The series is an opportunity for new members and old members not only to brush up, but to gain tools that are helpful for all the decision making that you do and that you make in your committee meetings and general board meetings. I wanted to also thank Cynthia Carron for the statement that was given by El Museo del Barrio to honor and to acknowledge all the great attributes and things that the Puerto Rican community and peoples have done for New York City and for El Museo. Let me also point out that you will find several resources on our website, which is www.manhattanbp.nyc.gov/ and then go to resources. There you will find information on community boards, capital and community grants, land use and planning, and most recently, our new downloadable senior resource guide PDF, providing a very wide range of adult services encompassing healthcare, transportation options, housing assistance, recreation programs, and much more. Recently, you all know that the Department of Sanitation of New York began a free weekly collection of residential buildings, collecting food scraps and yard waste, which began on October 6, 2024. We received so many questions regarding composting, from how fines get adjudicated to how does composting get separated, disposed of, and more. So the Department of Sanitation of New York turns this waste into a mix of products, including compost it provides to residents and organizations, fertilizer it distributes or sells off, and gas products it uses to power DEP waste water treatment systems and to heat homes and more. Because of this, the Manhattan Borough president sent out letters and included information in his newsletter. And we do have information on our website on how to assist Manhattanites to learn more about curbside composting in New York City. You can also go to the Department of Sanitation of New York's website. That concludes my report. Thank you for allowing me to be here. My email address is p.figueroa@manhattanbp.nyc.gov, and our number is 212-669-8300. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any questions for Porfirio? Seeing that there are none. Thank you, Porfirio. We look forward to having you with us next month.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, we'll now move the meeting along into our business session. The minutes from the last full board meeting were distributed ahead of time by the board office. If there are no objections, we'll adopt the minutes from that meeting. Board members, if you object to adopting the minutes, you may raise your hand and wait to be recognized. Seeing no objections, the minutes from the last full board meeting are adopted. They will soon be available on the CB11 website. Now on to our chair report. Not going to make it brief, going to make it as long and painful as possible. All right. Yeah. Okay, so just a couple quick notes. East Harlem Law Day. Thank you, Jason Wu. Little shout out, wave your hand, take a bow. Thank you for those that went by. I'm starting to see more people out. Isaac, we were out at an event. Appreciate that. But Jason, his whole team was there. We had misty weather, but they had good flow, I would say, and feedback from the community. Having been out there, they really appreciate it. Knowledge is power, power is control. So thank you for helping people find their way and control their fate a little bit more. The party in the park, Angel and I both showed up, as did some other board members. We did not table because it was rained out for the most part. But I do appreciate him driving in and those other members who tried to find us. But we did take a walk around along with Porfirio and then concluded that there was just not enough foot traffic. We also attended virtually the 125th Street bid formation. For those that have been on this board a long time, we've been fighting for that, and Uptown Grand Central has coordinated and liaised with the assistance of the other 125th Street bid. We've been working together, but now we actually have a formation. This is a huge, huge step for economic revitalization of that corridor to see it from river to river expand. And so that's a huge step forward. So stay tuned for more on that. Big bite of the apple here. People brought up Second Avenue subway. Attended that meeting. It was invitation only. There were the electeds, other stakeholders. They are doing stops, subway stops, 106th, 116th, 125th, where they will give detailed updates. You will be able to look in my chair report and get details there. We will also get the presentation sent over to us. They are addressing a lot of these issues that are affecting Franklin Plaza. We know about the bus stop. We know about the other issues, the crosswalks. I've been dealing with Leslie Colon, who's one of our public members, and she has been letting us know full stop when there are issues, when they're moving and blocking the crosswalks at 107th Street to move equipment, but leaving it up there way past the time it should be. Luckily, our members, representatives from the community, such as Hector Santana and Joe, they're being very reactive. We are arranging a meeting that will liaise with the contractors. So we have the foremen who are on the job. So when something kicks off or it is not being executed properly for the seniors that are in that development of Franklin Plaza, we can actually get results straight away. Again, a little bit of a learning curve because what's being said at MTA doesn't always make it down to the foreman on the ground who's actually dealing with the day-to-day construction. So it's very important in bridging that gap. You'll be able to see more information about the various steps, what they're doing with the mechanicals that they're resituating and all the access points. Okay. Borough Board, we had a really healthy discussion with Borough Board. Most of the time at Borough Board, this is where, for those that are new to community boards, once a month, all the chairs from each community board for that borough meet with the borough president. We relay our information within our district, what's going on, issues, challenges, things we have in common, things we're advocating for or working collaboratively with. One of the big things that came up were rats, and more rats, especially in northern Manhattan. We've seen an uptick in 9, 10, 11, and 12. We are working collaboratively with that. That is in one of our budget request items, despite having the rat czar, which had an initial impact. There's not enough resources to continue that impact. So again, they need to put more money in to our districts. And we also need to encourage our local building owners, clean up. A lot of them you will see they're not putting out new traps, and there has been an explosion of rats. That's something we shared. We also talked about, and this is something that is very important. I want all of us to consider in the coming months. We had a city charter revision, which created term limits of 10 years. People are going to be cycling off. There was discussion about perhaps revisiting and advocating for them to reopen the city charter to make it a term limit of 20 years, because that's enough time to make a sizable impact. There is a discussion on it, but it's something as an executive, we should continue that conversation because we have a lot of institutional knowledge. And Nilsa, she and I have had many chats, David in the back, Charlie, Carlos in the back. We've all have this wealth of information we need to pass on. So that's something we're working on. Judith as well. Like I can't even begin to tell you. But as we start to cycle off in the coming years, we don't want to lose that. The other thing we talked about at Borough Board was this impact of cancel culture writ large across the city, whether it is coming from community members, board members, elected officials, where you don't like what someone is saying, so you try to cancel them by using a response. I don't like that. That's offensive. They've seen that across the city, across their board communications. Instead of saying, I'm not feeling that, could you say it a different way? Or, okay, I'm triggered by that. We had a discussion about how one's own triggers are not the responsibility of someone talking to you. That's the reality in life. You're going to experience things in life. Some things are going to be offensive. We're not the arbiters of all things offensive, but sometimes you have to listen and redirect people. Now, it's one thing if they're cursing and yelling at you, but if they're saying something you just don't agree with, just listen. As board members, we're charged. Our first charge is to listen to our surrounding community. We talked about encouraging our board members across each board to get out beyond your local blocks, really take a long walk throughout the neighborhood. So these were things that we asked people to really charge and challenge one another as board leadership to make sure all of our community board members are listening intently. If something is said that you may not agree with or you found offensive, just say, could you say that a different way? As we talked about, and it was once expressed, and I paraphrased by John F. Kennedy, all too often we have the comfort opinion without the discomfort of thought. And part of that thought is to have a difficult conversation. So that was one of the notes we left with, which I think was a very beneficial thing to walk away with. And we are having next month a brunch down in Community Board 3's district to continue how we can foster growth with all of our members. And then the last bit, yesterday, I attended a rally at the invitation of Congressman Espaillat. He had a rally given the offensive comments made at Madison Square Gardens. Many of us were there to speak and stand in unity about the offensive statements. Could you please mute? Thank you. So we appreciate that invitation. Again, there's. Okay. So. Got jokes? Anyway, so we appreciate. Yeah, is someone's computer audio on? Okay, it seems to stop. We appreciate Congressman Espaillat's advocacy and standing up for what is right. So that was the last bit. That concludes my chair report. Any questions? Yes, Jewel.
Wait.
I just want to commend Michelle Wilshire Clement on what's it called again? The Safety Awareness for East Harlem Conference that took place Saturday. I'm sure she has much more to say about that. So. Oh, wow, putting on the spot. I will talk about that when I have my time coming up.
Thank you. Could we get a round of applause for Michelle and the whole team? Takes a lot of work to put on a forum and a conference. Thank you, Joel. Thank you. With that, no other questions. That concludes my chair report, and I'll look forward to hearing about that during Public Safety and Transportation. Angel, District Manager's report.
Hello. At Jose Altamirano's request, my report is going to be 45 minutes. So I hope. Nah, I'm kidding. Just a couple of quick things. Thankfully, I had a lot of vacation this month, so I wasn't here to do any work. So there isn't that much to report on. I encourage you, if you haven't been, to go to Texas and eat. It's wonderful. That's what I was doing most of the month. Just a couple of things coming up. We've been having conversations over the last, we've been anticipating over the last year and change the new outdoor dining program rolling out. We have not seen applications at CB11 as of yet. And the Department of Transportation has had a couple of bumps in the road despite their best efforts in rolling out the program. Tomorrow, there's a training for district managers and community board staff on the new portal through which we're going to be receiving applications and submitting recommendations from community boards as it relates to outdoor dining applications. So just a little update on that. I know other communities have started to see applications pre the portal, opening up. We haven't as of yet. Looking forward to those. I know that there's been some pushback from operators of outdoor dining structures and stuff, concerns about cost with the new rules implemented, with the new program in terms of having to store those structures during the off months and that being too expensive in the opinion of some of these restaurants. So perhaps we're not going to see as many structures with, under the new program as we did under the temporary program. So TBD on that. I'll report back next month as to what I learned, and of course, report to the licenses committee once we start receiving those applications. And then the only other thing is, notices about closures of the board office during November, as usual, will be closed for election day, November 5th. if the world is still standing. We'll also be closed on November 11th for Veterans Day. And on, if there's anything to be thankful for, on November 28th, we'll be closed for Thanksgiving. That concludes my report.
No questions? Yes, Carlos.
No one can hear you online. So.
They responded very well. Matter of fact, it's one of the best responders I've ever had. They came the very next day. I had about 7 people there. We were able to make sure that the tree was not put on 105 between Madison and 5th. And the reason for that is because as soon as they dug the hole, when it rained, they went all the way down to the basement and destroyed our kitchen. And we have a brand new kitchen that was put up there, so they were able to seal it up, and they're not going to put the tree. Thank the planning board for that. And Angel, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay,
Anybody else?
no other questions. Wonderful. Jess, any vice chair report this month?
No vice chair report this month, but you'll hear from me at district meets. Thank you, everyone.
All right, wonderful. With that, I'll pass it over to Rosa, our secretary.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here in person. My report will be about attendance. So I will read to you what I wrote. As part of our regular effort to ensure members of the Community Board 11 meet the attendance criteria for membership, the Executive Committee will continue to monitor the attendance of all the members on a monthly basis. As it was announced June 25th, 2024. Pursuant to our bylaws, a member may be removed for failure to comply with attendance requirements. As follows, the chair will explain in full details about attendance, disability, excuses, etc. Members shall attend no less than 2/3 of all meetings of full board. Members shall attend no less than 2/3 of total of meetings for your committee meetings from September 2024 to June 2025. And now I will be doing the attendance. So please listen carefully. Jose Altamirano, you've missed the September Public Safety Committee. Stephanie Arroyo, if there's any discrepancies, please see me afterwards. Stephanie Arroyo, you've missed the district needs September meeting and executive on October. Mark Bogursky, you've missed the Human Services September meeting, actually was excused, never mind. Marcel Bondima, Human Services Committee meeting in October, you were absent. Adem Brija, you've missed the October meeting for land use. Jocelyn Cruz, you've missed September meeting and now October meeting, and environment open space September and October meeting. Housing committee September and October, you were absent. Judith Ferraro, you were excused for September full board meeting, and district needs, you were also excused. John Green, you were absent September meeting, and the housing committee meeting absent for October. Christina Johnson, you were absent for the public September meeting and the September meeting for housing. Stanley Johnson, you were absent September and October for the environment, open space and parks and the youth and education committee on September. Jewel Jones, you were excused for the September meeting. Malik McCulloch, you were absent this October, environment, open space and youth and education in September. Samantha Pedreiro, you were absent on the environment, open space for September and October meeting. Claudia Perez, you were absent for the Public and Safety Committee meeting, September and October. Also for the Housing Committee, September absent, and the Executive, October absent. Valerie Ponte, Public Safety Committee meeting, September and October, you were absent, and the Human Services, October, you were absent. Eugene Rodriguez, you were absent for the October Economic Development Committee meeting. I'm almost done. Lyra Chicamboon, you were absent for the Human Services September meeting and the Youth and Education Committee September and October meeting. Marie Vasquez, you were absent for the October meeting. Hilda Vives Vasquez, you were absent for the Land Use Committee meeting in September. Justina Williams, you were absent for the Youth and Education Committee meeting September and October. Licenses and permit, you were absent September and October. Shanique Wolfock, you were absent for the Economic Development October meeting, and that concludes my report. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Real quick, everyone, this is a timestamp. It's to give you an update of where you stand attendance wise. If you have questions or discrepancies, you can bring it to Rosa at the end of the meeting. You have a question, Asher.
Done.
And then David.
I just want to put on the record that we spoke during the executive meeting about if you are online and you do have a qualifying disability, if you could please just turn your camera on. Because like we said, there's some board members who are new who understandably, if you have a disability, you can be here. I'm not going to question that, but please put your camera on because I have no idea who any of you people are.
Thank you. David?
Couldn't find it.
I think it's important to acknowledge and to make note that even though an absence is excused, it still counts as an absence. And if you have 4 excused absences, you could still be removed from the board because they're absences. So saying an absence is excused is not really excused because it still counts as an absence. And that's where we run into problems in the past with board members who go, well, I've been excused. But the bylaws do not account for excused or non-excused. That would go into our decision whether we remove somebody because they've now reached the 4. Correct?
That is correct.
Right. So we should be clear with that with people because people are in here going to think I'm excused and I don't have an absence when you do.
So to give you the math, we average 9 to 10 meetings a year. Committee, full board. You miss 4, you've missed more than 1/3. So you haven't met your 2/3 requirement for attendance. That's what would trigger it. For those that remember the bylaws, when we changed them, we allowed for excusal, obviously, a death, illness, military service. And for those that were traveling for work but wanted to teleconference in and participate, even though they could not vote, but they were present to participate, that became an excused absence, noting that someone who just didn't bother to contact the committee chair or the chair of the board, that is weighted differently during the process versus someone who disregarded it all and just wasn't present. So this is a distinction to note. Again, we're taking it very seriously. We appreciate everyone who's participating, but this gives you a timestamp. If you have questions, concerns, or discrepancies, please bring it to Rosa at the end of the meeting. The other thing to bring up is the disability form. We'll talk briefly about this in executive. It was discussed and that was in the minutes. I do want to note the disability form was crafted through state legislation. The legislation was written very openly for interpretation, which means that it puts the onus on the public body, i.e. us community boards, to determine what really qualifies. Last time I checked, we haven't had a doctor on this board since Roger Flores resigned. Even then, there are laws, HIPAA. We shouldn't know. We don't need to know. The board leadership and the staff do not need to know. You put it on the honor code. However, when you disclose, and this is something we are seeking counsel from the MBPO's office and from city law, and something we'll talk about briefly in executive, guidance on how to handle when someone volunteers. Oh, I'm at a work event. I'm going to send in the form. Well, you've now disclosed that it puts us in a position to where we have to say, no, you can't. Right. So again, the spirit and letter of the disability form should be observed. There are those that have temporary disabilities. For example, someone who's having pneumonia. This law was enacted because of COVID. COVID is an inflammation disease, and that could actually put you at risk. There are those that have mobility issues because of the inflammation. Again, some is temporary, the others are permanent, but it is not on us to adjudicate your health status, but to take you on your word. However, if there's blatant abuse of it, it puts us in a compromised position. And that is something I don't want to see as leadership here and to one another. And again, with the staff as well, it's very important. So I just want to put that out there. We'll talk more once we have more guidance in November, because again, we want to make sure we're stepping forward properly, one foot in front of the other. Yes, Nilsa.
Can you just explain more about excused absences? Because I know that David said, but for instance, there are board members who, as part of their job, need to go on trips because they have to represent. And so it might come to a point where, let's say, due to work necessities, they may have 4 absences. So just if you can explain in that instance, because it's tied to their employment, right? How the system works when they're brought in front to discuss, because they would explain their situation about work, that it's not always an automatic off the board because you have 4 absences, because that is a concern for some people. Okay.
So thank you. Again, how it's weighted, it's in our bylaws on what is an excused and what is an absent, but you're not present. So they're all counted as not present at the meeting. We had difficulty within the past couple of years, even despite the online version or Zoom, where we didn't have quorum. I'm looking directly at Jose. I know he didn't have quorum. David Giordano didn't have quorum. And people were rightly livid. But when it comes to waiting, when we as executive committee review it, we take that into consideration. For example, the chair can delegate to a member of the board to go represent the board, say PSA 5. You're excused. And in reality, that will not count against you because you've been delegated to handle board business. That gets put into a different bucket of an excusal, and it would not be counted in that case because you were told to be somewhere to represent the board. That's a different weighting. However, again, you can find the criteria. This is a way for us to move forward, so we're all participating. So I'm just going to use Nilsa. Nilsa, I want you to go to PSA 5. Well, it's during full board. That's okay. Stay until you're done. They'll notate late arrival. It'll show excused, but we'll say she was representing us at PSA 5, and she'll probably relay a little report to Michelle Wiltshire Clement. Here's my report from PSA 5, because we haven't had, commanding, what is he, Detective Lujan show up in some time. That's an example how that works. And it just doesn't count because it was delegated. That's one example. So again, we're taking this seriously, working together. We will give you more guidance in November on the disability form. So thank you. It's Mark, one last.
No one online can hear you. You have to repeat your question. I'm sorry.
Repeat the question. I was born with a microphone. What is the status? I know it's a state law, but what's the status of potentially interest in changing the attendance requirement for board members to not have to always be live?
That is with the state. And right now, a couple of the senators are in discussion with it, revisiting that legislation, determining what the quorum is and what the requirements are, and possibly considering giving more latitude to boards to determine what attendance is required to be in person and what can be virtual. So it's to be determined. So the legislation is being discussed. So, okay. If there are no other questions, I'd like to move us along. Next, we have Stephanie. Do you have a treasurer's report? I didn't see anything in the paperwork. No? Okay, no treasurer's report. Good. I'm going to, if it will please us, just because in executive, we will be voting on the action item. I'm going to ask Jess Elliott, who is our chair of Statement District Needs and Budget, to go over her minutes, and then we will go to executive in the order that appears on the agenda. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jessica Elliott, and I'm the chair of the District Needs and Budget Committee. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone this year for allowing us to execute this process in a smooth way. Thank you especially to the Environment, Open Space and Parks Committee for refining requests based on your tours over the summer. To the Youth and Education and Health and Human Services Committees for their intense work over the last 2 months to put together a number of really well thought through requests and supporting documentation to support those requests. So that is emblematic of the great work that we do here on the community board. And while we will be voting on our priorities and requests tonight, we will be holding District Needs and Budget Committee meeting in November and as needed throughout the rest of this year. As discussed previously, we will be beginning next year's work next month. So we encourage, as some of our chairs and committees have already demonstrated, that the work should be continuous over the course of the year so that when we dive back in after summer recess to September and October, it's not a mad dash to create our final requests and get that all sorted. But I know that we all do this work every day in our committees and the work that we do as community board members. So thank you for the process. We will also be happy to set up any time with any of our members who would like to discuss district needs, any chairs or vice chairs or leadership generally who would like to look into reaching out to any city agencies about their responses or setting up meetings to talk about, next year's responses. Obviously, we'd like to do this in a concerted fashion. So if you could please reach out to me with any requests and we will discuss it at district needs and help to sort those meetings, get those scheduled together, help to reach out to any other community boards for support in that way. And we'll be coordinating that internally and externally. So as Xavier mentioned, we will be voting on our district needs and budget requests next. Are there any questions? Great. Thank you all for your hard work.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We'll move on to executive as it appears on the agenda. I'd like to say thank you to Jess for taking charge of and chairing Statement of District Needs and Budget. To remind everyone who's present in the room and online, we have followed this process and this model that's been created where every committee does their work. The baton gets passed to Statement of District Needs and Budget Committee, and then executive where we vote on it, and then we ratify that position today. So again, I want to take a moment to also thank all of our committees who put their level best work in this effort. We had a bunch of requests come in from Human Services and Youth and Education, and appreciate the staff in helping refine and focus those. We also had some minor changes and edits there where there were duplicate entries and adding more context, so that way we can make sure the agencies are accountable with our requests. And so we're very pleased to see this process continue. With that, Jose Altamirano motion to approve the fiscal year 2026 capital and expense budget requests and prioritizations. The motion was seconded by Adam Brisha and passed unanimously. For the record, I was present via teleconference, and I appreciate Jess chairing the meeting while I was away at work. So with that, I will now entertain a motion to approve the committee's position. Yes, Asher. Second, Isaac Scott. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Thank you very much. The next item we had here was our proposed new locations for a Link NYC kiosk at 3 East 101st Street. Angel was helpful to offer history on this. This is right near Mount Sinai. Many of these Link NYC kiosks were where former telephone booths used to be. Who remembers those? Yeah, we can all admit it. Come on. That they're really trying to locate places where they can put these Link kiosks. However, if you've noticed, unlike when you get on the phone for 3 to 5 minutes back in the day, most people will stay there for a while. That is a very narrow sidewalk, which prevents movement, and it's right near the emergency entrance to Mount Sinai. So that becomes an issue of people traversing in that area. And having carried my own son who had to get stitches right in the shin from getting hit with the seesaw, it does get packed even without it being there. So we took a position. It was a Michelle Wiltshire Clement motion to oppose the New York City Office of Technology and Innovation's proposed installation and linking NYC 5G without added screen kiosk at 3 East 101st Street. The motion was seconded by Rosa Diaz and passed unanimously. If there are no questions, I will entertain a motion to support the committee's recommendation. A motion by Jose Altamirano, second by Adem Brija. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. We're cooking with gas. Okay, last little bit. Already touched on this with the disability form. We will be circling back on that. I take this very seriously. Our integrity matters here. This is not calling into question anyone, but we have to make sure we put our best foot forward. So again, in the minutes, referencing everything that we discussed earlier during the secretary's report. Once we have further guidance in November, I hope to deliver a report that will advise you what to do. If you have a question with the law or a conflicts of interest, which we will be getting a report from Porfirio on those that attended the leadership trainings, call city law. It's free. We pay taxes for this service. So you can ask confidential questions on whether or not you're doing the right thing. Or you just have a question if the conflict of interest is an appearance only, but it's not actually a conflict of interest. They will guide you and give you the best advice possible. So please use that if you have questions. And with that, the rest is information purposes only. Thank you to everyone who, again, the Public Safety Conference, very much appreciate it. Looking forward to our other conferences. With that, we'll move the agenda along to public safety and transportation.
Hello, everyone. I would like to thank everyone that showed up with public safety and transportation. That team, we did an amazing job, and I appreciate you. I would also like to thank people that weren't on public safety and transportation, like Kenneth Crouch, who came in and helped out, like Adem Brija, who helped 2 days before when I was having a hard time and saying, just come and relax at the restaurant and just take it easy, pull back. I would like to thank Isaac Scott for coming and presenting as well and telling your story and giving your voice. What we did was to connect people that needed space and voice. And I think we were able to accomplish that. It wasn't as large. Things happened, like the 2-3 and the 2-5 were called to Central Park. Things, you just don't know what's going to happen. But thank you. Moving on. We have that was also one of our goals. So check, one of our goals for this year has already been accomplished. I'm so happy it's over. Oh, and of course, thank you, Kadem. I'm mixing your name up completely. Khalid Nixon for helping out with registration. I was hearing his name at the same time. Sorry about that. We have 2 action items for this time period. One of them being, can you read it? I can't see it right now. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Jose Altamirano, motion to deny the Denise Carmack, Ms. D. Way Street co-naming request due to the limited significance of the intended honorees' impact beyond their building. The motion was seconded by Pascal Hanou and passed unanimously. The second one was Dawn Sanders' motion to recommend that the Department of Transportation change the hours for alternate side parking regulations on 3rd Avenue between 124th and 128th Street from 4:30 through 6:30 a.m. in the morning to 8:30 to 10 a.m. And the motion was seconded by Pascal Hanou and passed unanimously.
Okay. Any questions? Okay. See that there are none. With motion item number 3 to deny the Denise Carmack, Ms. D. Way Street co-naming request due to limited significance of the intended honorees impact beyond their building. We were just information purposes, we received guidance from the city council on what significance means, and there are a bunch of boxes that need to be checked. So they were following the guidance and that instruction. Is there a motion to accept the committee's recommendation to deny? Joel Jones? All right, deny. Okay, to support the committee's recommendation, second by Rosa Diaz. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Thank you. The next motion was Dawn Sanders to recommend the Department of Transportation change hours for alternate side parking regulations on Third Avenue between 124th and 128th Street from 4:30 to 6 a.m. to 8:30 to 10 a.m. And the motion was seconded by Pascal Hano and passed unanimously. Is there a motion to accept the committee's recommendation? Charlie, and second, Eugene. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Thank you very much. Okay, economic development and culture. Jose?
For informational purposes, but we spent most of our time. I was threatened personally by the chair of district needs to make sure that we did a thorough job with physical violence, and I submitted to it. And so we did a good job on that. We worked on our goals. I look very forward to working with this committee coming up, dealing with small business issues and large business issues as well. So we look forward to it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next is Environment, Open Space and Parks. Rosa Diaz.
Hello, everyone. We had a very productive meeting. We went and voted for our goals for next year. We refined and added community gardens and playgrounds, tours that we did last year and the year before, to the district needs and budgets requests. We have only one action item. Rosa Diaz, myself, motion to provide a letter of support for the proposed work at the Swedish Cottage Marionette Theater in Central Park. The motion was seconded by Michelle Wilshire Clements and passed unanimously. Thank you.
See that there are no questions. We had a motion to provide a letter of support for the proposed walk. What, we have a question. Michelle, no, you're. Okay, let me finish reading, but I'll give it to you. Proposed work at Swedish Cottage Marionette Theater at Central Park, Marionette Theater. The motion was seconded by Michelle Wilshire Clement, passed unanimously. Michelle, you wish to support the committee's recommendation? Thank you. Is there a second? Second, yeah, Derek Stampo, sorry. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries. Thank you. We next have land use, landmarks, and planning. And I believe Kenneth will be providing the report. We also have developers from the Beacon project here in case there are any last minute questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Good morning, family. Kenneth Crouch. We haven't met before. I'm standing in for Jason tonight as the vice chair for our land use committee. First, we finalized our committee goals, which include protecting landmarks in our neighborhood, tackling private warehousing and vacant properties, engaging institutional partners like New York City Health and Hospitals, and then finally educating ourselves on the new affordable housing incentive, which is 485X. We also got updates on the City of Yes for Housing Opportunity and the City Planning Commission's vote. That is all available on our YouTube channel. And we also reviewed and finalized our committee's statement of district needs and our budget requests. I think most importantly, the committee voted on our land use application, which should all be in your minutes. That's 240-385-MMM, 240-386-ZMM, 240-387-HAM, and 240-388-ZRM. Just as a refresher, that's the Beacon Mixed-Use Development Project, which features a 21-story, 215-foot tall building with 289 affordable units, the renovation of the HRA Multi-Service Center. The committee voted to support the land use application with two conditions. One, we commit to our CB11 local hiring guidelines, and two, that developer commit to proactively establishing partnerships with local workforce development orgs. Any questions?
Michelle. Yes, got a mic.
Question, right? This is the complex that had the space on the center that was going to renew the area, like people that were living in front, and they were going to take the people out and then have people that with a basketball court and whatnot.
Yeah, this is the space on 4313 East 120th Street. So yeah, it's there's an adjoining property and then the multi-service center. There's this large new affordable housing development and then renovating that multi-service.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I just wanted to make sure that I had that right.
Yeah.
What is the overcast in light in the area around it? Like how much light would be removed from the areas around it?
You know, that is a good question. I know the FAR is 7 point something. I think there might be folks in the audience who can speak to that more competently.
Let's the people that can answer that question are actually here. So if you'd please clarify on that.
Sure. Hi, I'm Melissa Otten. I'm the Director of Manhattan Planning at HPD. I cannot give you like an exact number casting out off the top of my head, but what I can say is that all of our projects that go through ULURP at HPD, we do an environmental analysis, which includes analyzing impacts of things like noise and light and air. And one of those impacts that would be analyzed would be shadows to see if there would be a significant impact. In this case, this project received a negative declaration. We have to receive that before we go through ULURP. So that means that there was found to be no significant negative impact to due to shadows from the building.
Great. And just for the record, how many stories is the development going to be?
21 stories.
21 stories. Thank you very much. Eugene.
Got 2 mics.
Thanks.
Gracias. I have 2 questions. One, what is our ranking in terms of affordable housing in the city? I believe you said we were 3rd. And 2, we had a very lengthy meetings with HPD so that they understood what our ideas were for this unit. I have no problem with that. But we were supposed to do that with the Julia de Burgos Center when they put out their request for proposals, and we haven't met with them at all. So what's our ranking in the city?
So I can't speak to that specifically. What I can say is that this particular unit is 100% affordable. So
that's not what my question is.
I'm sorry. I know
we do not we can find out the answer to that question. We don't. It could be, but we'd have to check the meeting minutes.
It's possible. Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. I'll kick it back to committee. Well, I'll get an answer for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any other questions? All right. We have a motion presented by Land Use, Landmarks and Planning. Jessica Elliott, motion to support the conditions land use. Guys, the crosstalk. Land use application. I'm not going to read all the numbers in. They've been run into the record. The Beacon Mixed Use Development Project with the 2 conditions. The motion was seconded by Jason Vinia-Webb and passed with 1 present not voting, Arama. There's a motion to accept the committee's recommendation to them. All right. Is there a second? Pascal? All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. No, present not voting. I know I was getting there. Don't. It's the very last one. Everyone, when you make a motion, you can just literally when keep it casual, just say our motion to approve, our motion to deny. And then if you raise your hand, I recognize you second the motion to make it very simple. Okay, just so we have that on the record. Thank you very much. Thank you, Kenneth. Youth and education, you are up. Asher.
All right, good evening, everyone. I just want to start off by, I know a few people have mentioned it already, acknowledging the horrid comments that were made on Friday. Those were horrible. And we as a district, the schools have taken in a lot of what Dr. Christie calls our newest New Yorkers. And I work in the schools with them. and they are definitely some of the brightest kids that you have ever seen. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. There's a couple of stuff we spoke about this month. We had a lot of new district needs requests, which was, we were very proud to do that. That was one of our goals, was to not submit the same requests that we have last year. We had a couple of like repeats, but it was mostly new. And the committee was collaborating on new things. So it was awesome and we got it done in a pretty effective fashion. I attended the legislative breakfast for the district with Dr. Christie, and I spoke to some of the schools and we have some ideas for the budget requests for next year. One of our goals for this year is to have more schools come and present to us, specifically like the kids, because we want to hear exactly what they want in their school, not necessarily like adults coming to us. So yeah. And also I attended the pool ribbon cutting, which was awesome. That's a budget request that has been on for about as long as I've been on the board, and I've been on the board for about 4 years, and they built that very quickly. And I also attended the reopening of Hope Leadership Academy on 114th Street, which is a children's aid team program. We're always talking about how we need more team programs. That's a team program within our community. So we have one motion, which was the New York, that was this month? Okay, yeah, sorry. There's so much that happened this month. David, Khalid were on a panel for the New York Academy of Medicine Gun Violence Summit. Russell was also there. I was able to attend towards the end. So that was a very, it was with the Heritage School, correct? Yeah, the Heritage School, which is a high school on 106th Street, was there, and they presented on different, they presented their like art on that they did for activism about gun violence within the community. Someone could correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, so there was a lot of events this month. So I'm like worried I'm like forgetting anything. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but we have one motion, which was Isaac Scott made a motion to adopt the $5 city bike proposal for students, resolution provided by Transportation Alternatives. The motion was seconded by Russell Schuler and passed with one present not voting, which was Malik McCullough. But the $5 bike program, for those of you who know, people who receive federal benefits or are in NYCHA housing, they already get a city bike membership for $5 a month. So this would just expand it to students. So they provided us a resolution, we read through it, and we adopted it. So any questions?
Okay, seeing no questions. There was a motion made by Isaac Scott to adopt the $5 city bike for students resolution provided by Transportation Alternatives. Motion was seconded by Russell Schuler and passed with one present not voting, Malik McCullough. I'll now entertain a motion to accept John Green. Motion to approve the committee's recommendation. Second. Nosa Rama, second. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. And present not voting, Malik? Is he here? He's not. Are you present not voting for this as well? Because you were present not voting in the committee. Yeah. Present not voting because you were the, all right, thank you. Human Services, Isaac Scott.
Hello, Malik. All right, I just want to again just thank everybody on the Human Services Committee, anyone who's been on it at any point in the past 2 years, everyone for their contributions. This budget season was the easiest that it's been for our committee. And I think it's because we laid the foundation of it throughout the year. I wanted to, because a lot of the issues in East Harlem overlap with human services, I wanted to ensure that and also just because human services, the scope of what we should be looking at with our committee is a lot more vast than we actually look at. I wanted to just read on the record and for your hearing some of the new requests just the updates that we made to our budget requests, because they are very, very important. So firstly, all of our existing requests were redrafted and sources were added specific to our community. One of the answers we used to always get was, we need to do more research. And it's like, well, we could do that research and just put that in the explanation. So that's what we did. So I imagine they won't be getting back to us saying they need to do more research in that regard. At least we're limiting the amount of rubber stamp answers we get, but we did want to provide more context in hopes that they would have a better lens into the issue as we see it as a community board. I'm saying that specifically just so that other committees with regards to the issues that you have, maybe you might want to put a little more context around the issues and the explanations for them. And we'll see. It's better than not doing it, because some of them was just real, like, we just need money because there's a lot of needles on the floor, which is true and obvious. But I think expressing the severity of them being there and there not being the extra support for them to never be there was what's important. So that type of stuff. But some of the new requests were others related to domestic violence service requests. So we wanted to, one of the things we wanted to look at on our committee was violence and the role that violence is playing in human services and just in everything we're seeing. So we wanted to, we added a request for domestic violence services and increase in support around that. We also advocated for a new request to provide and expand enhanced food programs. And I think that's for our Asian population, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have it in front of me, but I believe that's what it's for. Other requests for vulnerable New Yorkers were particularly people, our newest New Yorkers, those from Latin America, Africa, and the Caribbean. So we asked for more support around them, more bilingual speakers, but more caseworkers and just more support specifically for them in our community. We also framed gun violence as a public health issue in East Harlem, and we asked for more support around violence programs in schools so that young people understood violence in a better context, also understood strategies around avoiding violence. Primarily, also another vulnerable New Yorker one was asking for more support around primarily Spanish and French Creole speaking folks, and just advocating for more caseworkers and more just more bilingual caseworkers. So those were some of the newer requests that we added on top of what we already had there. So I just wanted to let y'all know that. The other, I went past my time, obviously, sorry. One more minute. The other thing I wanted to inform everyone, please save the date. Shout out to Michelle again for the conference. It was great, and thank you for all of your hard work. And planning events is stressful, so it was a success no matter who came. So just wanted to shout you out again for that. But the Human Services Committee plans to host a one-day forum focused on addressing issues surrounding substance abuse and addiction within our community. This is planning to take place on December 6th. We're hoping to have a full day event from 10 to 4-ish. I don't know. We haven't confirmed the time. I think we're like at 90% confirming the date, Rosa. Okay. I mean the location, which will be East Harlem Community Partnership at 71 East 111th Street. So that's in between, I think, Madison and Park, if I'm not mistaken. So just so folks know, keep that on your calendar. This will be something we go through more thoroughly at our November meeting, as the event is right after. But we will be planning from henceforward. So if you have some interest in, helping us plan this, please let me know. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Appreciate people who don't sit on the committee showing up to volunteer and participate. Please, like we challenged you last month to participate in at least 2, you can do more. So thank you very much. Yep, licenses and permits. Anne-Marie.
Save the best for last, right? Very intense meeting, I would say. All right. It's not there? No.
There we go.
So for liquor licenses, LGBT 116 LLC, new application for full liquor license for a restaurant located at 1637 Park Avenue, store number 1 and 2, New York, 10029 on 116th Street. This is actually 116 and 115 in Park Avenue. The committee recommends that this application be denied. Should I continue? Oh, okay. Spaha Lounge Inc., renewal application for full liquor license number 1207067 for a restaurant located at 1634 Lexington Avenue, New York, New York, 10029. This is on 103rd. The committee recommends that this application be approved. Contento, New York City, LLC, doing business as Contento, renewal application for liquor license number 1322467 for a restaurant located on 88 East 111th Street, New York, New York, 10029 Park Avenue. The committee recommends that this application be approved. Next. Taqueria Guadalupe Corp. Renewal application for wine, beer, and cider license number 1280806 for a restaurant located at 1743 Lexington Avenue, New York, New York, 10029, 108th Street. The committee recommends that this application be denied. Tropical Grill on Second Avenue Corp. Doing business as Tropical Grill Restaurant. Renewal application for a wine, beer, and cider license 1292880 for a restaurant located at 2419 Second Avenue, New York, New York, 10035 on 124th Street. The committee recommends that this application be denied. Montas Corp. Doing business as El Nuevo Caridad Restaurant. Renewal application for full liquor license number 034022114431 for a restaurant located at 2257, 2259 Second Avenue, New York, New York, 10029, 116th Street. As there are no changes to previously supported methods of operation, this item is approved administratively by the district manager and the chair of the License and Permits Committee. No vote is required. Next. Cannabis Retail Dispensary, New York, THC Co. Doing business as, it went blank. To read it from there, but. Where was I? Cannabis. Okay, thank you. It's easier for me to read. Where was I? Tetra, East Harlem. New application for an adult use retail dispensary license number it's OCMCAURD 2022-000-852 for property located at 2152 3rd Avenue, New York, New York, 10035, 118th Street. The committee recommends that this application be approved. Street activity permits, Guadalupano, number 806176 Street event, December 12, 2024. The setup is at 10:30, breakdown at 1:30. Location is East 102nd Street between 2nd Avenue and 3rd Avenue. Street closure, full street closure, applicant Daisy Navarrete, sponsor Guadalupe Procesión. The committee recommends that the review of this application be tabled. Office of Neighborhood Safety Unity Safety Event, number 809429 Street Event, October 12, 2024, set up at 8 a.m., breakdown at 7:30 p.m. Location East 129th Street between Lexington Avenue and Park Avenue. Street closure, full street closure, applicant Wajid Alawlaki. Sponsor, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety. The committee recommends that this application be approved. PHC in Your Borough Fall Festival, number 810659, Health Fair, October 12, 2024, set up at 10 a.m., breakdown at 2:30. Location, East 115th Street between Lexington and 3rd Avenue. Street closure, full street closure, applicant is Jesse Lopez, sponsor New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. The committee recommends that this application be approved. A motion to approve was made by Nye Whitaker, seconded by Wanda Hopkins, and passed unanimously.
Great. Thank you, Anne Marie.
You're welcome.
Quick items we have with number 13, that was already approved, so that's not going to be included. I'm going to bundle all of these, provided there are no questions. Yeah.
Yes, of course. Of course. Can we go back to 8, please?
So the question was why were 8, 11, and 12 denied?
Yes, and
Thank you.
I'm gonna let you know why, but committee members, you are welcome to also join and answer the question too if I miss anything. Number 8 was denied, not because they did not submit their paperwork, they did. But they wanted to be open Monday through Sunday from 6 a.m. to 4 a.m. And we felt that was too many hours, especially this is between 116 and 115 and Park Avenue. You know, it's lonely, it's kind of dead, and there are some residents in nearby. So we thought the noise was gonna be too much during the week. So we asked, or we recommended rather, that they'll open from 6 a.m. to 12 from Monday through Thursday, from 6 a.m. to 12 midnight, Monday through Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, so weekend, we recommended 6 a.m. to 4 a.m. and then Sundays, 6 a.m. to 12. And they were not willing to take our recommendation, so we denied. Any questions?
Okay, Adem.
This is just my opinion. Personally, I wasn't at the meeting. I know we all feel differently. I'd make the argument that on quieter blocks, where there is nothing, it's actually safer to have businesses open more often. The other thing is, and I'd suggest this, when negotiating, because they have a right to stay open till 4 a.m. and have a liquor license. And so unfortunately, what happens is they will get that. The only way to get them to possibly agree is to get them to sign a stipulation. And so we got to be, I think, a little bit more careful when we negotiate, because if they walk away from the table with no negotiation, they're going to get 4 a.m. I guess my only question, since I wasn't there, was 6 a.m. to 4 a.m. the hours of operation? What
Yes.
were the hours where they were going to actually sell alcohol?
6 a.m. to 4 a.m. was hours of operation. I believe the alcohol was going to be like brunch, 11 a.m. to 4 a.m.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Sure.
Wait,
As someone who lives on that block, I agree with Adem's comment about how it would be safer to have a business there because a lot of stuff happens on that block, and just having like the traffic of a business, it will move it over a little bit, especially with the construction going on the subway. There's a couple of darker spots over there that there's not much light, and there's been multiple instances of problems. So yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
Any
You had a
committee?
question, Rosa?
Can I say something? Oh,
Yeah.
question? Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I was just wondering about 15 Guadalupano. Why was it table, you know? Because November is gonna
Are
be
we
like,
done with number 8?
oh, no,
Number 15.
number
We're done with
15.
number 8? Okay. Number 15 is table because there was no paperwork submitted and it is December. They still have time.
Yeah, thank you. And the answers for 11 and 12 and why they were denied.
Let's go back. 11, no paperwork was submitted on time. 12 was no paperwork was submitted on time.
And for those that recall, we have criteria, and if the criteria aren't met, it's an automatic denial.
Yes.
I did listen to the meeting for licenses and permits. There was a request to see if the business owner would be receptive to adjusting hours, and there was he was unwilling to adjust and was quite adamant is probably being diplomatic with if you listen to the meeting, which is public record. And I think that unwillingness, because we have had many businesses come in and are willing to do stipulations and make adjustments. But in this case, having listened to it, there was a lack thereof. However, so that's why. And as we saw with Lighthouse Fish Market, when they came in and misrepresented everything, got that in, we got burned by that. And what we were advised by the state liquor authority, it is easier to get these adjustments or to deny a license up front before they're approved versus once they're approved and getting adjustments retrospectively. So that is perspective. Yes, a question, Malik, before I move the agenda. Okay, so if there are no further questions.
I just want to say something about specifically because that was tough.
Go ahead.
And I agree with you about having these businesses come in, especially these areas that are, not, it's dark and it's not too many residents, and it would be helpful. But, we ask that, there are people do live there. So the noise, may be an issue. Also, you're drinking until 4 a.m. You may come out there drunk. I don't know what happened. So we thought about those things. And we just asked if we could recommend. And like he said, it wasn't not a pretty thing. So that's what happened. But yeah, he might get it. I don't know. But thanks.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. With that, I'm going to move the agenda along. I am going to bundle these in the interest of time. Number 8 is a denial. Number 9 is an approved. 10 is approved. 11 is a denial. 12 is a denial. 13, there will be no action. 14 is an approved. 15 will be no action. It is tabled and shouldn't be on the agenda, so we will not include that. 16 is an approval and 17 is an approval. I will entertain a motion to support the committee's recommendation. Jose? Second, Rosa, all those in favor? Any opposed? Opposed, Michelle Wiltshire Clement, Adem Bridger. What? I will call the abstentions in just a moment. So, okay, so what I will ask is, as we have done in the past, we have those that are approved to support. Those against, please raise your hand. For number 8, right? Nilsa Rama, Judith Ribeiro, Dembriha, Michelle Wiltshire Clement are opposed for just for number 8 for the record. Any abstentions? Okay, thank you. The motion carries. Yes.
Nilsa, Michelle.
So no against number 8 with supporting the committee's recommendation. So that, no, Michelle, you abstained from number 8, or are you a no? Okay, thank you. So that is Adem, Judith, Nilsa, and Michelle for 8, and Russell and Jason and Asher. The motion still carries. Huh? What's your name? Loretta, hi. And you're a no on number 8? Okay. So are you supporting the committee's recommendation to deny? Loretta, are you supporting the committee's recommendation to deny? Okay, thank you. So that's still it. All right, the motion still carries. Thank you very much, everyone. All right, last but not least, housing. Adem.
All right, everything's for informational purposes. We did have one action item. I'll just basically explain it because then I know they'll read it. I know there was like a resolution. I don't know how many people are familiar with it. It's been on the table for a while. It was to expand or try to get 421A extended because there are seniors on fixed incomes who have home ownership, and a lot the 421A program was helping them. And then when it expired, their taxes were going to come up to present day value. And when they're on fixed incomes, it was going to cause some of them to be displaced. I think, as a lot of us know, we have especially a housing crisis in general for affordable housing, but especially for seniors. If you start to displace seniors who own homes, then they're going to be back into the rental market. And then that's going to create a bigger demand for a supply that's not increasing. The problem is I think it was hard with the 421A. Obviously, that program's over. It's hard to get a program reinstated. It also was going to help people who I think everybody might need help, but their priorities to who should get help first and the people that need it most. So we kind of re-examined that resolution, took the spirit of what it was trying to help, which is senior homeowners who are on fixed incomes. So there's a program, it comes from the state, but the New York City Department of Finance can tweak it. It's called the Senior Citizen Homeowners Exemption. It provides tax relief, property tax relief to seniors within certain income bands, giving them reductions up to a certain assessed value. All those details are actually in the resolution itself, but basically what the resolution's doing is looking to increase the income. So I think right now is capped at 60,000. We're capping it at 75, and then we're deepening the level of relief that each income bracket gets. The idea of it was that this is already an existing program, so it might be easier to get an existing program to tweak itself rather than just try to get a whole new thing done. What I will say is writing the resolution and sending it out to the local electeds and the agencies is the first step. My goal is to wait a month once they get it circulated and then start following up with them, finding out if it's feasible. If not, why? What could we do to actually make sure this happens? Because this isn't something that we have seniors now who are struggling, so something has to happen. So that's pretty much it.
Any questions? Judith?
Oh. And there's many hundreds and probably thousands of people that got into this program to buy a co-op under this particular 421A program. Now, we already started, the 421A is expired. There is no 421A. So the increases are coming every year at 19 and 20%. Until 2027 or 2028. Now, even if you call the Department of Finance as a senior to try to get onto that SHE program, they look up the address and they say, well, the building is still in that program until 2027 or 2028. So the seniors get, for lack of a better word, screwed. They can't get into it until the building is completely expired from the 421A.
Yep. Thank you very much, Judith. I think there's a lot of empathy here for those that don't know the 421A, and there were multiple different programs you could go into. This was particularly a 30-year program. You had those that, and especially within co-ops, and those that don't know, co-ops, 50% of what they pay are taxes. Again, this was to create long-term home ownership. It has been successful throughout this community. However, given an aging in place, thank you. So again, I appreciate the Housing Committee working on this extensively. And so we have a motion here that was made by, if I may, Jason Wu made a motion to approve the resolution calling for an expanding property tax relief programs for seniors and people with disabilities. The motion was seconded by Stephanie Arroyo and approved unanimously. I will entertain Nilsa Rama motion. Second, John Green. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Thank you very much. Okay. All right. With that, is there any new business? Any old business? Announcements? Okay. Seeing that there are none, we will now call the roll. I want to thank everyone. This is, I think, close to a record. 1 hour and about 40 minutes. Please be quiet while we call out the roll. 1:45. Thank you.
It's gonna take longer if you're not gonna be able to hear your name. Jose Altamirano. Stephanie Arroyo.
Here.
Oh, are you a board member? Okay, did you sign up for the publicly registered speaker section? What's your name? Okay.
Jimmer.
So
Jimmer.
I will, in this instance, typically we have the publicly registered speakers, but this is a public, since we're done, I will reopen if it will please the board to listen to this. But if you can keep it very brief to under 3 minutes, that'd be great. Okay.
I will.
Thank you.
I'm just concerned, White Park on 106th Street. I've called 311 numerous times. There's been like a blackout in that particular area. There's been music there sometimes. And even after that, there's no lighting. On 106th Street as well, on 106 Jackie Robinson School, the same thing. On 5th Avenue, the lights are getting dimmer. 3rd Avenue, 116, the lights are getting dimmer. It's part of the LED program with the city. I just want to know, can they implement more lighting for people that cannot hardly see? Because it's very hard when you have pavements that are not, that are cracked. You can easily fall, and for seniors. So that's my concern with the DOT and just calling Department of Transportation. I've called 311 numerous times, and there's to no avail. No one comes. Sarah Alvarez.
Sarah Alvarez, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for letting me talk.
Yes, thank you. And just so you understand the process, the public can speak in the beginning of the meeting before we go into our business session. And because this is a public safety issue and we care about that. Michelle Wiltshire Clement, please raise your hand. Please Ms. Alvarez, please speak with her after the meeting and because we want to make sure those comments are made at that committee level as well. Okay, and with that, thank you so much. And I thank you for getting my attention. All right, the roll, please.
Yes, thank you. Jose Altamirano say yes. Stephanie Arroyo,
Oh, yes.
thank you. Mark Bogorsky. Marcel Bondima, sorry. Thank you. Then Brija, Kenneth Crouch, Jocelyn Cruz, not here. Carlos Diaz, Rosa Diaz, myself, Jessica Elliott, Judith Ferraro, Ernest Foster Hernandez, David Giordano, John Green, Pascal Hanu, Wanda Hopkins, Christina Johnson's excuse, Stanley Johnson. Stanley Johnson. Okay. Jewel Jones, Sage Mason, Malik McCulloch, Jennifer Mayer.
Present.
Meyer, sorry. Jessica Morris, excuse, Nisa Rama, Beverly Pavone, Samantha Pedreiro. I'm not calling you. Yeah. Claudia Perez.
Present.
Claudia Perez. Valerie Ponti. Valerie Ponti. Asha Rodriguez. Eugene Rodriguez. Jennifer Rosado. Don Sanders, excuse, Xavier Santiago, excuse, Isaac Scott, Russell Schuller, Loretta So, Derek Estampon, thank you, Alaida Chicambone, okay. Vincent Torres, Amarie Vasquez, Jason Villanueva, Elda Vives Vasquez, Nye Whitaker, I got it. Justina Williams, Michelle Wilson Clemens, thank you, Shanique Wolfolk. Oh my gosh, Jason Wu. Okay, now you can leave.
Thank you. The meeting is concluded.